Hi, boys and girls. This story is also by Cynthia Rylant. You can tell I like her. She's a good author. This one is a part of the Henry and Mudge series, and it's called Wild Wind. Now, when we're done, I'd like to compare just a little bit and see what Cynthia Rylant likes to write about. We're going to compare Wild Wind to Mr. Putter and Tabby Walk the Dog. Cynthia Rylant, same author, Cynthia Rylant. Here we go. Raise your hand if you know Cynthia Rylant's books about Henry and Mudge. This one is called Some Wind. Oops, I forgot to show you the table of contents. It has 4 chapters, 4 short chapters. So we'll do it all at once. Some Wind. Henry and Henry's big dog Mudge were playing outside one hot summer day. Suddenly, a wind blew so hard that it blew Henry's hat away. "Wow," said Henry, "some wind." Whoosh! Mudge's fur rippled, his ears flapped, his eyes got all wet. "Must be a thunderstorm coming," said Henry. Uh-oh. Henry didn't like thunderstorms. They made him jumpy. But they made Mudge even jumpier. Do you have a dog or cat that doesn't like thunderstorms? I don't. My dog doesn't like thunderstorms. Every time a storm came, Mudge did strange things. He whined. He walked around the kitchen table about 100 times. He sat in the bathroom alone. He put his head between the couch cushions. Aw, poor Mudge. What do you think he's trying to do? The only jumpy thing Henry did was he whistled a lot. Lightning would crash and thunder would boom, and Henry would whistle. Henry whistled Jingle Bells, he whistled Happy Birthday, he even whistled the Star-Spangled Banner, but not very well. Henry knew what to do when the wild wind started. "Come on, Mudge," he said, and he headed for the house. All at once, the wind blew open the screen door. Crash! Whistling and whining like crazy, Henry and Mudge ran inside. Chapter 2 is called Pows and Booms. The sky turned very dark. Henry's mother turned on the lights. Henry's father shut all the windows. Henry and Mudge sat on the couch waiting. Splat, splop, the rain began. Then pow went the lightning. Boom went the thunder. Mudge went to sit in the bathroom. "Mudge," Henry called. Mudge wouldn't come back. "Chicken," Henry grumbled. He started whistling Jingle Bells, but he missed Mudge. Henry went back to the bathroom door. He looked at Mudge. Mudge looked at him. Pow went the lightning. "Come on, Mudge," said Henry. "Let's go in the kitchen." Mudge wagged his tail just a little. He followed Henry into the kitchen. Henry's mother and Henry's father were having cups of tea at the table. Boom! Mudge began to walk around the table in a circle. Henry began to whistle. "Want some cocoa?" Henry's mother asked. "Sure," said Henry. Pow went the lightning. Henry whistled the Star-Spangled Banner while Mudge went around and around the table for the 10th time. Henry's father and mother just looked at each other. This chapter is called The Enemy Couch. Pow! The lights went out. Uh-oh, said Henry's father. Henry switched to Happy Birthday, and Mudge went into the living room to put his head in the couch. Poor Mudge is really nervous, isn't he? Henry's mother brought out some candles. Henry started the 5th round of Happy Birthday. Wait, said Henry's father. Maybe you could stop whistling, he said to Henry, and play a game. Boom went the thunder. What kind of game? Asked Henry. Let's see, said Henry's father, trying to think fast. How about the crawling through the enemy lines game? He said. Now, how do you think Henry, the boy, is feeling in that story? Right there at that point in the story. Can you tell me how you think he's feeling? How do you think the dad is feeling in the story? And what do you think the dad is thinking? What does the dad want to do? I think the dad wants to help Henry feel better. What do you think? Mudge, let's pretend that Mudge is a prisoner in the enemy camp, Henry's father whispered, and it's your job to rescue him. Henry looked into the living room. Mudge still had his head in the couch. Uh-oh, said Henry. Pow! Did you hear that enemy fire? Said Henry's father. Boom! And that big cannon? Henry's father's eyes were big. Henry nodded. He was ready to cross the enemy lines. He was ready to free Mudge from the enemy couch. Is the couch really an enemy? No, they're pretending. Don't forget to take a flashlight, said Henry's father, and watch out for scorpions. Henry grabbed the flashlight and dropped to the floor. He crawled inch by inch across the enemy kitchen. Pow! Boom! He crawled inch by inch across the enemy dining room. Pow! Boom! He crawled right into the enemy camp. There was his best friend, Mudge, a bravely waiting prisoner with his head in the enemy couch. Mudge, whispered Henry. His brave friend lifted an ear. Mudge, he whispered louder. His brave friend wagged a tail. Come on, Mudge. Henry crawled over and pulled his brave friend's collar. You're free now, Henry said. Mudge sniffed the air of freedom. Mudge sniffed the socks of his rescuer. Pow! Boom! Mudge sniffed a fast track to the bathroom. Henry frowned. He had hoped that Mudge would stay. Well, at least you missed the scorpions, said Henry's father. And Henry grinned a little. And at least you now know where to find Mudge if we need him, Henry's father said. Right, Henry laughed. Above their heads. Above their heads. For the rest of the storm, Henry sat at the kitchen table with his parents. They played cards by candlelight. Having trouble turning that page. Soon there were only little pows and tiny booms. Then there weren't any at all. The lights came back on, the sky cleared, and Mudge came out of the bathroom, wagging his tail as if he had been to a cracker factory. I like that word, cracker factory. Say that. As if he had been to a cracker factory. What does that mean? What did the author mean when she said, as if he had been to a cracker factory? What does that tell me? What does that mean? Henry and Mudge went back outside. They sniffed the fresh air. They felt the wet leaves. And like it was a painting, a great giant rainbow rose up and spread its beautiful colors right above their heads. The end. Okay, so this story was Wild Wind. It was about Henry and his dog Mudge and how they were both afraid of the storms and how Henry's dad suggested a game to him to help him play during the storm so he wouldn't feel quite so afraid. Now, how does this story that Cynthia Rylant wrote remind you a little bit of this story? Well, some of the main characters are both dogs, right? I think in both stories the characters really love each other, take good care of each other, don't they? In both stories the dogs behave in funny ways, don't they? I want you to think of any other things you can think of that are same about these two stories and ways that they are not same. And you can tell me about them the next time we talk. Cynthia Rylant's book, Wild Wind, is part of the Henry and Mudge series. If you're liking it, you can look it up online. You can read lots of them. The library has tons. So that's a part of a really big series. Okay, boys and girls, remember to thank God out loud every day. Bye-bye.